welcome to Follow the Brand TV. I am your host, Grant McGaw, CEO of 5 Star BDM, a 5-star personal brand and business development company. B for brand, D for development, and M for masters. Today, I'm going to take you on a journey through another deep dive into the world of personal branding and business development using compelling personal stories, business conversations, and tips to improve your brand. By watching the Follow the Brand TV series, you will learn how to differentiate yourself from the competition and build trust with prospective clients. As the saying goes, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So make it one that will set you apart, build confidence, and reflect who you are. Building your 5-star personal brand is a great way to improve your skills and knowledge. If you have any questions for me or any of my guests, please email me at grant.mcgaw@5starbdm.com. Now, let's jump into our next episode on Follow the Brand TV. This episode is brought to you by
5 Star BDM, Brand Development Masters, is a professional consulting and advisory group keenly focused on business development services for the small to mid-sized business and entrepreneurs. Although every business is unique, they often share business development challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. Services include process improvement and operations, digital strategy and transformation, business intelligence, digital marketing, and personal branding. Our business and personal branding company has helped a number of professionals and organizations to optimize and grow. This results in more business, more opportunities, better reach, positive outcomes. Visit www.5starbdm.com today to learn more.
Welcome again to your #1 YouTube personal brand channel. I am Grant McGaw. It's an honor for me to recap the story of a great personality who has consumed herself with executive achievement in the healthcare industry. She is a well-known former hospital CEO. She serves as a strategic advisor for RMP Group LLC. She formerly served as president and chief executive officer of 4 hospitals in Washington, D.C., Michigan, and Toledo, Ohio. When you have a goal to become an amazing CEO, you must learn how you are perceived by others. Focusing on your personal brand will help you to gain trust and cooperation with your team of high-performing executives. She understood this principle early in her career as she details her story. To better understand her accomplishments, I'll recap our conversation from the Follow the Brand podcast interview in episode 5. Our guest today is Miss Andrea Price. I asked Andrea what was the one thing that she wished she had known before she began her career. Her answer may surprise you.
Sure. I would say the one thing I wish I'd known before I began my career was how many times I had to prove myself over and over and over again. I had no idea. I was naive. I thought that if I had the educational attainment, if I had the credentials in my field, if I'd been successful in the positions that I had the privilege to obtain, then it wouldn't be any question. And that just didn't happen. And so I was a little disenchanted because I'm thinking, but I've proven myself. Why are you questioning me? I mean, people would look at me and say, oh, she's Black. They would look at me and say, oh, she's a woman. They would look at me and said, are you still in college? Yes, unfortunately or fortunately, when I started my career in DC, I looked very young. And so people assume, knowing nothing about me, that there's no way I could occupy the positions that I had because I was too young.
I felt her passion as she described the constant battle to prove herself continuously through her career. I then wanted to know how she did to find her personal brand, and how has it helped her to succeed in her career?
I would tell you, I always tell people when people talk about brand, your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. I learned that early in my career. And what I learned is when I wasn't around, people said a lot of positive things about me that I didn't know they were saying. When I started my career, I became known as a doer. And that's what the president CEO, I said, doer, what is that? He said, you get things done, Andrea. He said, you really do. And he said, I think people are going to always underestimate you because they're going to look at you and say, no, not her. And you're going to prove them wrong every single time. And at the time, you know, you're young, you're like, okay, Don, okay, that's what you said. But he was absolutely right every single time. And so, you know, as I progressed through my career ladder, it became known that I was the one who could execute on strategic priorities, work with teams, gather people, get them done, meet deadlines, exceed, whatever. And so that's what I was known for. So there are a lot of things I was able to do early on, young. You know, we would have these natural disasters. They would make me in charge of the command center. And everybody's coming in, they're like, who in charge? She's in charge? And I'm directing people what to do, pick up people, where to go. I mean, you know, it was just, you know, amazing. And so, you know, even when I was rounding on patients and family members, people were like, who are you again? And I'll explain who I am and why I was there. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I used to surprise the physicians. They would be rounding and they're like, Andrea Price, why are you up so early? I'm like, the last time I checked, a hospital never closed. Why are you up so early? So I would laugh and joke with them. And so people just, you know, it kind of known that I'm a person who would show up unannounced, no matter what time, no matter what day, and you know, just have a little fun with the staff and the physicians because they don't expect people at the executive level to do that.
What did you think of her answer? I like the fact that she knew her brand early and was able to use it to overcome perceptions. Naturally, I needed to find out how she got that first leadership role. Listen as she details her trajectory to the C-suite.
Sure. While I was at Children, when I completed my administrative fellowship, there was no guarantee that they would keep me on. But I worked like nobody business that 12 months to prove to them that they should keep me on. And they did. And so I became the assistant to the chief operating officer. There was a switch, the CEO left, and then the chief operating officer became the CEO. When he did that, he promoted me to like a staff role, like an assistant vice president of administrative affairs. It was still a staff role. I had no line responsibilities. And so then one day he called me in the office, Sandra, I think you're ready for line management. And totally unannounced, he started quizzing me. I'm like, Don, what are you doing? I thought you were coming to give me an assignment. You're interviewing me and quizzing me. And he said, yeah, I want to see if you're ready. And so afterwards, he said, I think you are. And so that was my first line management role. I had 5 departments reporting to me. And so now I had to learn, I'm not the person that's always doing. Now I have to delegate and work through others to get things done. And so that was a great learning responsibility of me because I learned people aren't like me. I'm one of these people, let's get it done. What's the deadline? What's the time? What do you need to see? And people aren't like that. Not that they can't perform, but they're not going to perform in the manner in which I do. So it was, once I learned that, I got promoted again and I got promoted again. And I think the pinnacle for me was when the chairman of the cardiovascular surgery department went to the president and said, I want to report to Andrea Price. And he said, excuse me, I don't think I heard you. He said, he said, you want to report to Andrea Price? He said, yes, I do. He said, she gets things done. When she say yes, she means yes. When she say no, she means no. I'm a surgeon and I like that. And I want to report to her. In fact, I'm demanding that I report to her. And he was like, okay. So the person he no longer reported to was not happy that he was reporting to me. And we had a great relationship. Everyone in his department were men. And so I said, if you're going to report to me, I want you to at least, when an opening comes, look for a woman as a cardiovascular perfusionist. And he said I would. He did, and he hired one.
I was most impressed how she was able to pivot from a doer to expert in working with people and creating great relationships. I asked Andrea about her unique skill that she leveraged again and again to help her climb the corporate ladder.
Sure. I would say it took me a while to realize this, but after enough people told me, especially those who were, conducting my performance evaluation and my teammates, I would say my superpower is my influence. I have the uncanny ability, I didn't know it at the time, to get people comfortable with where the organization wants to go, their organization goes. And so I would get them to create commitment around achieving those. And what I did was I did that through guidance and coaching. So for example, if you reported to me and there was a report that was due to me, I will review it and give you feedback, even though it was coming to me. And so people are like, you do that? I mean, my colleagues I was like, yes, because I want them to succeed. And they were like, oh, we never thought about that. And so then it became like he or she is on Andrea's team. So throughout the hospital, people would say, oh yeah, they report to Andrea. That's why they're so good. And so it just created this whole thing. And they were like, well, how do you get your people to do what you need to do? I said, first of all, you have to be authentic. And first of all, you have to set expectations. I said, I'm known in the hospital as setting very clear expectation and holding people accountable. And they like it. So, so I would say my ability to influence people to do what needs to get done.
Influence, guidance, and coaching were her keys to success. Have you done the internal assessment of yourself to determine your unique skill sets? Imagine that you are working with a famous doctor that would one day become a household name. Let's find out from Andrea about her 5 minutes of fame.
Well, I gave a little teaser earlier when I talked about my second semester of graduate school that I became really ill and I was told that I was going to die. Well, when I got to DC, and because I had an excellent physician, I decided I need to learn more about this disease that I have. And so I'm one of these people, when I don't know anything, I investigate and I research. And so I did. I found out there was a chapter. I joined the chapter, ended up becoming the chairman of the board. And because I was chairman of the board, the Lupus Foundation of America asked me if I would be their national spokesperson. So I became the national spokesperson. So as the national spokesperson, I represented them. So I used to have meetings at NIH with the famous Dr. Anthony Fauci.
No way.
And yeah, I used to go to his office. I had no idea who he was. Okay, so anyway, so we would meet at NIH, and then the executive director of the Allergy and Asthma Foundation of America. There were 3 organizations, I can't think of the third one, that would go and meet with him and talk about, well, what is the research, that's going to help people that have these type of diseases. As a result of that, I ended up going to a congressional budget committee representing the Lupus Foundation of America to advocate on behalf. It was recorded in the Federal Register and everything, my remarks, to advocate that NIH receive additional budget funds in order to advance research for autoimmune diseases, right?
Right.
While I was there at the congressional hearing, there were 2 other people waiting with me to speak. One was William Shatner from the Star Trek series. The other one was someone I really admired, Dr. Mary Frances Berry. Dr. Berry was the Secretary of Education under President Clinton. At the time I met her, she was the chair of the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights. And she was there because her niece was 21 years old and died from lupus. And she was there advocating money for the research for lupus. And so we got to talking. I'm thinking, okay, Andrea, just calm down, because I really admire this woman. And so, of course, she took the show. They bowed down to her. And I'm thinking, I gotta go speak after this woman, because they had us lined up. And so I did. I did it. And afterwards, she said, would you like me to drop you off at home? I was like,
Wow.
I was just gonna take the subway. And she said, sure. And we got to talking. She told me all about her niece, how devastated they were. She died from lupus. And she was asking me all these questions about me and lupus, because I was 24, 25, whatever. And, how I was holding up and all that type of stuff. And so that's something someone doesn't know. And then the last thing I was saying, because I was the national spokesperson for the Lupus Foundation America, I was interviewed on the Tom Brokaw ABC Evening News.
Is that right?
2 minutes. Now, it's only 30 minutes and usually get 30 seconds.
Right.
They gave me 2 minutes. They sent a whole production crew to my house in DC, followed me around, interviewed me, had my daughter who was 2 years old. They were fascinated that she knew how to read certain words, and they filmed her, and she was on TV reading to me. Not reading, but, Apple, car, that's
Right.
how she's only 2 years old. How is she able to do this? I was thinking, I thought y'all were interviewing me about lupus and following me around, but it was all good. So though I would say that is something that very little people know about me.
Hey everyone, I want to thank you for watching this episode on Follow the Brand TV. Remember to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to get our new episodes as they are released. Also, make sure to visit our website at www.5starbdm.com. Until next time, build a 5-star brand that people can follow.
Star BDM, Brand Development Masters, is a professional consulting and advisory group keenly focused on business development services for the small to mid-sized business and entrepreneurs. Although every business is unique, they often share business development challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. Services include process improvement and operations, digital strategy and transformation, business intelligence, digital marketing, and personal branding. Our business and personal branding company has helped a number of professionals and organizations to optimize and grow. This results in more business, more opportunities, better reach, positive outcomes. Visit www.5starbdm.com today to learn more.
Follow the Brand TV broadcast host, Grant McGaw, as he visits with top executives and entrepreneurs to find out their secrets of success with their personal brand. Follow the Brand TV broadcast host as he focuses on brand development to build better relationships, bring value to your business, relationships, and career. You will enjoy listening to each episode that is tailored to speak to you directly. If you're looking for this type of clarity in terms of building your brand, you have tuned into the right station. Each episode will help you to shape a conversation in the 5-Star BDM network of 20,000 professionals and become a springboard for your corporate engagement and business opportunities. Each guest will frame their story in the areas of personal branding, business development, career development, financial empowerment, and technology innovation. Grant McGaw explains why he is the CEO and owner of his own professional career. Grant is an accomplished business leader and entrepreneur who wants to give back to individuals to grow their personal brand strategy. Tune in as he weaves his story about new possibilities, while to you exceed expectations. If you love storytelling, this show will make for fun.
I'm glad we're back. Tonight, I want to talk to you about personal branding and the idea of concepts in the second half of our show. I treat brand concepts as conceptual art, as an art for which the idea or concept behind the work is more important than the finished art object. Your personal brand is also an art form. It is about how you shape and mold the narrative of your ideal. I'm a multi-dimensional being with many ideas, activities, and manifestations. How do we put all that we are into our personal brand so that it is a work of art? Concept art is a form of visual art used to convey an idea for use in films, video games, animation, as well as comic books or other media before it is put into the final product. When applied to a personal brand, we come to tool sets to help us to visualize our brand before we make it visible in social and business formats. So the first step to creating your personal brand is to organize your thoughts and create your personal brand vision. This is how you want yourself to be perceived by others and how you want to live your professional and personal life. The foundation of personal branding rests on authenticity, the ability to tap into your genuine, humble, and individual human qualities from which your identity, personality, and character stem. Your personal brand vision board is a canvas that will illustrate your life's artwork. When I created my vision board, I divided it into 4 areas of experience: childhood, adolescence, maturity, and mastership. Think of this in terms of your life as you step through the narratives in your story. Childhood is the beginning of awareness of a growing experience. It is the time when everything is possible. It is the world of the imagination, a world without boundaries. Take yourself there and tune into your thoughts and ideas growing up, how you played and looked at life in terms of persons, places, and things. Write these memories down to capture the feelings you had as you played. Remember how you discovered what you could do and not do as a child. You began to understand boundaries, which started to etch out the form of your existence. Remember what you like to do and why you like to do it. Remember the joy of just being. This is the beginning of your dream board, the playground to begin visualizing your values, your ideas, your goals. I used to pretend that I was a professional football player. Next, a starship captain. Next, a martial arts expert like Bruce Lee. Yes, Bruce Lee became my archetype, the ideal way I wanted to be as a child. I liked his self-discipline and the hero archetype. As I thought about my brand, I wanted to be sure it would have my values, my core values of wisdom, power, and freedom. The goal of building your personal brand is not just to get a better job or to grow your company. It is about finding happiness in your professional life. I emerged from my childhood vision board exercise with the idea of becoming the hero. The hero's goal in branding is to become as competent as possible, and in achieving competency, serving others. Because making the world a better place demands sacrifice and hard work. The hero is willing to do that for a more significant cause. And in so doing, I will master my craft. Who is your ideal person in the form of an archetype? There are 12 brand archetypes, and these concepts are often formed early in our lives. When we rediscover our ideal, it will form the basis of our personal brand. The 12 archetypes are the hero, the magician, the outlaw, the ruler, the creator, the caregiver, the lover, the jester, the everyman, the innocent, the sage, and the explorer. You can find the definition of these archetypes at www.5starbdm.com. And I also encourage you to take the online personal brand questionnaire to help you to begin to frame your personal brand. Now, my vision board had a protagonist, the hero, the person who can voyage through the world of challenges to achieve the ideal of wisdom, freedom, and power. Now, I was in the world of adolescence, the time in which I thought I knew everything, the time in which our parents and teachers were no longer relevant, behind the current times, and limiting to my dreams. The adolescent has the dream, but has not implemented it. He doesn't understand the laws of the greater community, where the idea must dwell to survive. Does the world see Bruce Lee or just a young, inexperienced soul? It is time to go back through time and remember my thoughts, feelings, and actions as a teenager. This is a time of disconnection, growth of recognition, and learning how the world works. I saw it as mundane, repetitive, and boring. How could I breathe life into my brain with all these conditions like money, taxes, education, and relationships? Why could I not just do it in my way instead of conforming to how it was always done? In other words, how can I disrupt the limited conditions that were putting out the light of my dream? The adolescent is a dreamer with little power to change anything. I now have the choice to go forward with my dream or conform to the herd mentality. Here's where we find many entrepreneurs after they have started on the path to financial freedom. It is the time that we either quit and find another dream or forge the path forward. Over 50% of all businesses started in the US fail within the first 5 years. Only 25% of new companies make it to 15 years or more. Why? I say lack of self-discipline, organizational and financial structure. As the hero of my story, I faced a huge hurdle. The lack of experience would erase my vision and replace it with conformity. Who would come to my aid in a great time of need? Then I remembered. I remembered my parents, my teachers, my friends, my relatives, and my network that had gone down this path and now could help me with mentorship, advocacy, and sponsorship. I now was the willing student of life. I was coachable. The hero transitioned into the explorer archetype and was ready and willing to listen, observe, and apply. The explorer is motivated by independence and fulfillment. They crave freedom and nonconformity. Showing bravery and self-sufficiency, they often come off confident and fearless. They're straightforward in their talk and know what they want. The explorer archetype is motivated by a powerful craving for new experiences, greatly valuing autonomy. The explorer has a core desire to be free of the establishment, but not necessarily to challenge it. This archetype is willing to do about anything to avoid boredom and entrapment, even if it means taking significant risks. The explorer is known to push boundaries and delight in unexpected discoveries, embracing a no-limit philosophy. Now I was working through the life cycle of my personal brand vision board. At this point, I started to get a clearer picture of who I am and what I want to accomplish. I can now see that I do not know everything, and I must be willing to have patience and learn. My protagonist has changed from Bruce Lee to David Carradine in the drama Kung Fu, for those who are old enough to remember. Now, during these exercises of creating your personal brand, I want you to think about what I just talked about in a personal brand vision board. We've only gone through half of this life cycle. If you want to see more of this particular episode, it is on my YouTube page at followthebrandtvseries.com, in which I gave this very presentation during the Black Business Olympics September, or excuse me, not September, that's what's coming up, but that was in the July 2022 Summer Olympics. I want to now bring you to our next guest on the Follow Brand. You're lucky tonight, so we're going to have two guests tonight, and we're going to bring it forward with Mr. David Breyer. Thank you very much. Welcome to another episode of Follow the Brand TV. I am your host, Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM, a 5-star personal brand and business development company. I want to take you on a journey through another deep dive into the world of personal branding and business development using compelling personal stories, business conversations, and tips to improve your brand. By listening to the Follow the Brand TV series, you will differentiate yourself from the competition and build trust with prospective clients and employers. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Make it one that will set you apart, build confidence, and reflect who you are. Building your 5-star personal brand is a great way to improve your skills and knowledge. If you have any questions for me or any of my guests, please email me at grant.mcgaw@5starbdm.com. Now, let's begin with our next episode on the Follow the Brand TV. It's an honor for us to recap the story of a recipient of over 320 international awards on design and branding. David Breyer has the rare distinction of being presented the Presidential Ambassador for Global Entrepreneurship Medallion, a native New Yorker and Google's #1 ranked rebranding expert. David's 4 decades of branding expertise are sought after by companies of all sizes, from startups to global organizations and every industry demanding an unorthodox edge in today's business climate. In addition to being a branding and rebranding expert and keynote speaker, David is the best-selling author of his #1 Amazon book, Brand Intervention: 33 Steps to Transform the Brand That You Have into the Brand That You Need, with a foreword written by Shark Tank star and CEO of FUBU, Daymond John. Applauded by the likes of New York Times bestselling author of Pitch Anything and multi-million-dollar deal maker Oren Klaff, David is called a branding genius by billionaire Grant Cardone, and Shark Tank's Daymond John calls him brilliant with branding. Claude Silver, Chief Heart Officer at VaynerMedia, Gary Vaynerchuk's agency, wrote of his best-selling book, "This is not only an outstanding book on branding, but is an excellent example of branding, design, and content I keep in my office. I only wish I had this book at the beginning of my career." David and his work have been featured in Adweek, Fast Company, Forbes, Inc. Magazine, Huffington Post, Entrepreneur, Thrive Global, and the New York Times, and numerous blogs and podcasts around the world. When you have a goal to become a design expert, you must learn how you are perceived by others. Focusing on your personal brand will help you gain trust and cooperation with your team of high-performing executives. David Breyer understood this principle early in his career as he details his story. To better understand his accomplishments, I'll recap our conversation from the Follow the Brand podcast interview in Season 3, Episode 7. Brands are often associated with products, services, and companies. So I asked David, of all the professions he could have worked in, why he chose marketing and branding.
The short answer is that growing up in New York, I was surrounded by a lot of the things that one can enjoy in New York. So, food, culture, art, music. I loved all of that. I love being surrounded by all that. And I really took that in. And for me, there was always a matter of what was the thing that got me to stop? Did I walk by a deli and there was like a smell coming out of the deli that made me stop? Did I walk down the street and there was a street performer doing something, or I went to a gallery or a museum and I'd see something and why was I gravitated toward this thing? So to me, there was always a matter of like, my attention would get arrested by something that disrupted the normal kind of pattern and pace of life or other stuff that I was enjoying at the time. And so that really was probably the underlying little strand of, I found that I lit up when that happened for me. And I observed other people lighting up when it happened for them. And so I took my artistic skill, started to get into design and embracing the marketing and the branding, because I like waking people up.
Did he light you up with his answer? I could see the clear images of myself walking through Times Square, Manhattan, as he described his journey into marketing and branding. David has designed and transformed global brands, regional and local brands, and brands for startups and even cities. So I asked him, what was the one thing he wished he would have known before he began his career?
It would have been me leaning over, whispering into my ear, saying, the person that you're talking to also has dreams and aspirations. Make sure to not ignore those. Because the reason I'm saying that is because I think everybody in the beginning of their career, what are they focused on? They're focused on leaning in, making sure they're giving it their all. If they have the entrepreneurial leanings, they're going to be giving it their all. They're going to be freaking leaning into it big time. They want to make their mark. They got to get on the radar. There's got to be some recognition. There's got to be some, they're going to get some press, all these things, all these key little things that say, yes, you are a valid part of this now. Right. I can't say that I know that the same is true for those who are in a career path, but if they have big dreams in terms of their career, I think it's going to be similar. If their goal is like, hey, just to get a steady job, they may not have that. I mean, just like to get a steady job and a steady paycheck, that's very predictable, very routine. It's kind of like you clock in, you clock out, right? So it probably has a different dynamic, but that's the thing for me. That's the thing for me is just, I don't know. I mean, I love it. I love all that. I love the energy and the buzz and the leaning in.
Naturally, I need to find out how he got above the noise and transcended to his first plateau as a branding expert. Listen as he recaps his path to brand mastery.
My first taste was early on in my career, probably about 85, 86. And I was new in my career. I've been doing what I've been doing for a few years at that point. And I ended up looking at, I want to get my work out there. I want to get it known. I want to get it seen in the right context. So what I want to do is, if I approach a printer and I approach an illustrator and I approach a photographer and I approach. This is when typesetting was actually done outside, not on our computers, but actually there was an entire industry that did typesetting. So typesetter. So like getting all these different parts to the piece of what it would take if we all worked collaboratively as one unified, hey, we're going to get something out there. Let's produce a magazine. I would be the one responsible for it. And so I put out this thing called Graphic Relief, a quarterly indulgence. That's what I called it. And it was large. I mean, the thing was like about 12 inches by 18 inches in size. And it was just really beautifully done, beautifully produced, very artful. And that's when I started to win some first awards and things to really start get recognition. And it was really hard to ignore. And it kind of blew people's minds. I remember years later looking at that saying, boy, did I have some cojones to like come up with that? I mean, I was fresh, and new in my career, and I'm approaching these people and people are agreeing. They're going, that's cool because none of us could individually do that, but collectively we could actually lean into it and do that. And that was great. So that was like my first taste that got me to go, something special can be done here.
David found his brand by putting together a collaboration of other experts in print media to produce a world-class quarterly magazine. Now that is the liberator of awesome. I asked David, what problem is he solving with his skills?
What I'm passionate about and what I'm solving is, I'm solving the problem that business school or schools in general have actually never had on their curriculum. How do you actually, if you've done the hard work, like I know of no university in the world that answers this question. If you've done the hard work to create a brilliant product or brilliant service that can actually, in a small way or maybe a big way, revolutionize that industry, how do you do that? And actually, how do you convey that in words and image and story? How do you do that? Because the bottom line is that, I mean, here's another thing that again, I don't think this is taught in any university in the world. Entrepreneurs don't know their primary role. They're in the role of actually changing minds. You and I know, we've all been approached by salespeople who they're blah, 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 blah. They were parroting some script and they were giving you the same old crap that you've heard 5, 20, 50, 100, 200, 500 times before. That's not going to achieve anything. And they also think that that they're in the arm wrestling business rather than in the helping business. So they're in the business of one, helping, and two, it's like if there's no way that any entrepreneur, how are they going to get a prospect to come to a new conclusion if they're actually using old ideas? You can't get a prospect to go, wow, I just realized something, by them hearing the same old thing that they've heard before, whether it's by a salesperson or by branding. So the job that we're in, I mean, we're here to make the world a better place. We're here to actually benefit people. We're here to elevate how things are done, and sometimes it's in a very niche market and sometimes it's a very, very big and broad. But the bottom line is it's exciting. And why the hell are we using the language of the old to introduce the new? Business is about stuff that's new.
How do you convey in word, image, and story the product or service that you have created? Do you feel you are in the role of actually changing minds? These are some of the very thoughtful questions posed by David Breyer. David shares his fundamental beliefs about the foundation of branding today and how he is helping entrepreneurs today to achieve expertise.
Well, it's something that I can talk to because I've seen it up close and personal with when I talk to a client, for example, when I talk to a client that hey, David, we'd love to talk to you about helping us brand, blah, 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 blah. I say, okay, good. Tell me about your brand. Da, da, da. Tell me why here's one of my routine questions. I'll say, tell me why I, as a prospective customer, should give a damn about what you're offering me. And then they say, oh, well, we this and we this and because of this, and then feature and we and I and blood, sweat, and tears and 14 divorces ago, and and this and that and alimony and infidelity and all this kind of stuff, and drunken nights and sober mornings and all that. I'm like, okay, good, thank you very much. Now, why do I know that if I went to one of your competitors, or when I went to several of your competitors, I'd pretty much hear the same thing? How great they are, how earnest they are, how committed they are, blood, sweat, and tears, the best in the industry, life-changing. No one's going to care about them like we do, blah, 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 blah. Why am I going to hear the same thing? I said, do you see that as a problem? And then all of a sudden they go, oh, yeah, well, yeah, I guess that is a problem. See, they never looked beyond their navel. That's the problem. So whenever anybody is in the business of being in business, whether it's career or whether it's an entrepreneurial endeavor or it's building an empire, I've had, and I don't say that lightly. I literally had one of my clients take me out to lunch and say, David, thank you. And I'm like, for what? Well, because of the work you did for us. I was personally, and this is the CEO telling me personally, I was personally able to donate $50 million to causes that I support. And that's because of your work. And it was at that point that I realized I have the ability to help dreams come true. I have the ability to actually help empires be built. Because if you can't navigate your way in the world of where there's lots of stories and there's lots of claims and there's lots of noise, if you can't navigate your way through that to be heard with clarity and distinction and traction, you're wasting your time. Your dreams are what's at stake, and you are letting those things die. You're basically just if they were in ICU, you're basically pulling the plugs on those suckers right there. So that's the thing that I love about this game, is because I get to help my clients recognize, holy crap, I've been using ordinary tactics to try to lead an extraordinary life. And by me asking the questions I ask, they all of a sudden realize I am so ill-armed to actually fight this battle, to leave the mark that I intend and want and should leave in this world. And then they light up, because now all of a sudden they're going, okay, I'm freaking Rambo, right? I got the sweat on my brow. I got the long freaking hair. I got the ammo across my chest. Now it's a matter of like, good, now you can shoot at something. Now
Right. Yeah, you got to disarm them and get them into, like I say, get them out of context.
Yeah.
So I learned that a while ago. The best place for me to meet certain people is to meet them out of context, where they're not expecting you to meet them, and you have a differentiated conversation. And a lot of times, like you said, man, I never thought of it like that. I never stood back and looked at it and really could see beyond these faded glasses where we're going.
Yeah.
So thank you for that insight. So if they want to get in touch, what is the best way to get in touch with you, David?
Best way is, for sure, my website, risingabovethenoise.com. That's RASING, risingabovethenoise.com. But also, I would say, LinkedIn, I spend, that's where they can get a very regular dose of, there's a real regular dose of content that comes there practically every day of the week. There's plenty of other places, but that's the thing. It's like, check out, go to the website, find the stuff that's there to be had. There's almost over 300 actual visually stimulating and thought-provoking and myth-busting articles and posts that help you look and help you see and help you, because if you can't look and you can't see, how the hell are you going to come to a new idea? How are you going to connect dots that others are missing if you're always looking through the same filtered lenses of this is the way the world is? That's not where genius happens. Genius happens when there's a fluidity, an ability to shift and maneuver. And anyway, so that's the thing. Risingabovethenoise.com. And for sure, if anybody, if they want just a real slap in the face from for almost 4 decades of experience, they should get themselves a copy of Brand Intervention. Get the hardcover copy. It's got great production values. It's got color throughout. It's not your normal, like I say on the back of the book, I literally say the first book written for CEOs, entrepreneurs, and brands that don't have time to read a book on branding.
There's always a person at the end of the decision-making point. Knowing the conversation to have is the answer for many in business today who are looking to successfully brand and market their company. David Breyer has the ability to make dreams come true, the ability to have empires built. Having a message of clarity, distinction, and traction to be heard, and it's not a waste of your time and money. Do not continue to use ordinary tactics to try and lead an extraordinary life. Thank you for viewing this episode on the Follow the Brand TV. Remember to hit the subscribe button and to continue to tune in for our next show or click on our website at www.5starbdm/followthebrandtv. Thank you. Hey everyone, it's Grant McGaw, CEO of 5-Star BDM and host of the award-winning Follow the Brand podcast and TV series, where I help you to build a 5-star brand that people will follow. My genius is personal brand development through intelligent communication and helping you achieve your business and career goals. I am a requested speaker on digital technology and brand development issues. I want to work with you to increase the value of your current opportunities while attracting new ones. Every one of you is unique, and we all share challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. As a super connector, I work with you as an executive coach to guide you along the complicated business and career development road, providing the enhancement tools and information you need to succeed. Together, I will help you succeed in today's challenging business climate. I will evaluate and measure your progress. Best of all, I am right alongside you every step of the way. Build the brand called you. Genius.